Journée internationale du travail au Cameroun. La 135e édition se tient sous le thème « Monde du travail et pandémie du Covid-19 ». Garantir la santé des travailleurs, défi majeur dans la préservation des acquis en entreprise. Compte tenu du contexte sanitaire actuel, le ministre du Travail et de la Sécurité sociale, Grégoire Oona, informe le public en général et les acteurs du monde du travail en particulier que la traditionnelle grande marche des travailleurs du 1er mai ne pourra pas avoir lieu. Il invite par ailleurs les acteurs du monde du travail à organiser, conformément aux mesures restrictives, des activités de sensibilisation et d'échange, ainsi que toute manifestation en rapport avec le thème officiel, réunissant moins de 50 personnes. Le président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, échangera par ailleurs avec les travailleurs le 1er mai au cours d'un direct live chat organisé par la Cameroun Radio Television et relayé par les médias nationaux. En santé, campagne de vaccination contre la poliomyélite. Le ministre de la Santé publique, le docteur Manaouda Malachi, informe les populations que l'État du Cameroun organise depuis hier jeudi des journées nationales de vaccination qui se poursuivent jusqu'au 25 avril. Cette campagne de vaccination se fera par la stratégie porte-à-porte dans les ménages, mais aussi dans les formations sanitaires et sera couplée à la supplémentation des enfants de 0 à 59 mois en vitamine A et le déparasitage des enfants de 12 à 59 mois avec le mebendazole. Cette campagne de vaccination permettra de renforcer l'immunité de près de 6 054 937 enfants âgés de 0 à 5 ans par le vaccin polio oral. Restons en santé, lutte contre les drogues en milieu scolaire. La campagne de sensibilisation se poursuit ce 23 avril. Près les élèves du lycée de Mbalngok à Yaoundé, place ce vendredi aux élèves du collège Jésus-Marie. Ils seront édifiés sur les méfaits de la consommation des stupéfiants. C'est à l'initiative de l'ONG International Brain Organization qui a organisé depuis le 21 avril une série d'activités dans plusieurs établissements. Toujours en santé, lutte contre le Covid-19 dans la ville de Douala, le collectif des jeunes patriotes avec Paul Biya organise ce 23 avril à partir de 12h une vaste campagne de sensibilisation couplée à la distribution du matériel de lutte contre le Covid-19 dans la ville de Douala 2e.
Nous sommes de retour dans ce studio de CRTV et à CRTV News. Le Cameroun Daylight se poursuit. On va dire un mot sur la fête internationale du travail qui aura lieu le 1er mai 2021. Comme vous le savez, selon un communiqué officiel du ministre du Travail et de la Sécurité sociale, il n'y aura pas de parade ou de manifestation officielle. En outre, le thème officiel de cette journée est désormais officiel. Donc cette 135e édition de la fête internationale du travail sera axée autour du thème Monde de travail et pandémie du Covid-19, garantir la santé des travailleurs, défi majeur dans la préservation des acquis en entreprise. C'est donc le thème de cette 135e édition. En revanche, puisqu'il n'y aura pas de manifestation publique ni de grande parade, l'événement sera donc consacré à la sensibilisation autour du travail décent. Cela va se faire sur les plateformes numériques et les nouveaux moyens de communication que vous connaissez, la communication digitale qui est de plus en plus répandue en raison de la pandémie au Covid-19. On va reparler une fois de plus de l'actualité des journaux avec Yves Fomosso qui nous a rejoint dans ce studio. Bonjour Yves.
Good morning.
Une fois de plus, bon début de week-end. Vous étiez déjà là pour le journal en langue anglaise. Cette fois-ci, on va parler de l'actualité nationale et même internationale.
Exactly, Kathy. We're going to have a press review. Locally, we'll talk about the head of state who was represented at the state funeral of Idris Deby Itno by the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betia Somo. Across the country in France, Emmanuel Macron has, of course, has eased lockdown measures. Schools are going to reopen. Of course, there is a progressive measures taken to ease down the lockdown measures, especially, as vaccines, most of the people, they have taken the vaccine. So we'll be taking our viewers across the national frontiers just after this.
Voilà, après donc la revue de presse, on parlera évidemment des enjeux de ces obsèques officielles du président Idriss Déby Itno. La revue de presse, c'est tout de suite.
Thanks for making it a date on Tabloid. We take a flip through newspaper pages in Cameroon across the national frontiers. We'll begin with the Lone National Bilingual Daily. Cameroon Tribune writes that Cameroon Tribune says in one of its lead stories that the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Beti Asomo, is in N'Djamena in Chad, where he's representing President Paul Biya at the official funeral ceremony of late Chadian President Idriss Déby Itno, which is taking place today. Ahead of today's funeral ceremony, expected to pull over 10 heads of state, including French President Emmanuel Macron and other government members. President Biya's representative arrived the Chadian capital city in N'Djamena last evening. He is leading a delegation made up of senior military officials. Mutation writes that ministers in Cameroon, including the Prime Minister, head of government, Joseph Dion Goute, at the front line have been administered the COVID-19 vaccine. The ministers assembled at the Star Building Wednesday, April 21, where they were immunized against the deadly virus by a team from the expanded program on immunization in charge of the vaccination campaign. Mutation says there are growing fears concerning the vaccine as the death of a Cameroonian is being linked to the vaccine. You can read more in today's edition of Mutation. L'Economie newspaper looks at how African trade is affected by COVID-19. In the first survey of its kind, Afreximbank, alongside a number of strategic partners, conducted the first continent-wide trade finance survey to better understand where Africa stands and the impact on the banking sector of the pandemic downturn. What can banks and African governments do in a synchronized fashion to accelerate both trade and growth in the post-containment phase of the pandemic? As a result of the pandemic and inherent tightening financing conditions, heightening balance of payment pressures and liquidity constraints, the supply of trade finance was affected between January and April 2020, the period covered by the survey. According to the report, the number of correspondent banking relationships fell across the region, with about 38% of local private-owned banks and 30% of foreign banks reporting an increase in rejection rates, respectively. We'll take you across the national frontiers. We'll begin in Nigeria. The Nigerian daily, The Guardian, says despite public concerns about Nigeria's rising debt, the Senate yesterday approved fresh external loans of over 1.5 billion and 995 million for the federal government. The loans were approved by the lawmakers after considering and adopting the report of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt chaired by Senator Clifford Ordia. This is in spite of inflation being at 18.17%, a record high in 4 years. South African daily, The Star, says Kusela Diko, the spokesperson of President Cyril Ramaphosa, who was put on ice after her late husband Nkosi Diko corruptly scored a COVID-19 tender, has challenged the ANC in Gauteng, saying she cannot be forced to step down. Through her lawyers, Diko said that there is nowhere in the ANC constitution where it says senior members must disclose the business interests of their spouses. You can read further into this edition of the Star newspaper. Le Figaro says the reopening of schools in France is maintained for April 26 as a government eased lockdown measures. The French government remains faithful to its commitment as announced by Emmanuel Macron. The reopening of nursery and elementary schools will take place on Monday, April 26, while the health situation is experiencing a relative improvement. French Prime Minister Jean Castex, at a press conference yesterday, defended a choice assumed and motivated by the catastrophic damage, both educational and psychological, caused by the prolonged closure of these establishments. We move on to China. China's President Xi Jinping attends a U.S.-led climate change summit at the invitation of President Joe Biden in the first meeting between the two leaders since the advent of the new U.S. administration. China Daily reports that Biden has invited dozens of world leaders to join the two-day virtual summit that started yesterday after bringing the United States back into the 2015 Paris Agreement on cutting global carbon emissions. Hundreds of thousands of predominantly black and Asian service personnel who died fighting for the British Empire have not been formally commemorated in the same way as their white comrades because of decisions underpinned by pervasive racism and investigation has concluded. You can read that in the main story of The Guardian. That's the UK's The Guardian newspaper. The Commonwealth War Graves Commission is expected to issue a formal apology after it discovered that at least 116,000 but potentially up to 350,000 predominantly African and Middle Eastern First World War casualties may not be commemorated by name or at all. The investigation findings seen by The Guardian and set to be announced by the Defense Secretary Ben Wallace in the House of Commons also estimated that between 45,000 and 54,000 African and Asian casualties were commemorated unequally. You can read that in today's edition of the UK's The Guardian newspaper. Thanks very much for watching. Have a fun-filled weekend. I'll be back next week, Monday.